I'm Leon Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. You've been asking for a video on blending 2 amps in the Axe effects for quite a while now, so I'm going to look at 4 of my favorite combos on here. I just quickly want to distinguish between what I'm doing here and other dual amp setups. I'll often use a pair of exactly the same amp model with the inputs set to left and right and panned hard left and right so that I can run stereo effects before the amps. You just get a slightly different character rather than running them after the amp and cab. We're not talking about that today. Essentially what I'm doing here is going to be just kind of building a big mono amp sound that combines the character of 2 different amps that I really like. And the core concept here is going to be using contrasting tones. And to start, we're going to blend the AC20 12AX7 treble model with the Deluxe Verb vibrato model. I've got an AC30 cab paired with the AC20 over here. I love the way this Dynacab sounds. And I've got the 1x12 Deluxe Verb Dynacab. First, I am going to let you hear the sound of just the Vox on its own, because this is the primary character that I'm going in here. Single coil mode on the net pickup of my DGT. Just a nice chimey clean tone. What I'm going to do is contrast that with a kind of grittier, fatter tone from this Deluxe Reverb vibrato. So I'll turn this up so you can hear this on its own. Then I'm going to play a loop. I'm going to turn the Deluxe Verb vibrato all the way down and just blend it in until I hear it start to affect it, until it kind of sweetens up what I'm getting from the Vox. So first, the Deluxe Verb on its own. Very different thing going on. Let's turn the level down. I've pre-prepared some chords. We'll turn both amps on, and let's just blend in some of that Deluxe Verb vibrato model. Okay, that was pretty quick there. You could hear at around minus 22, 24 dB, you can hear the Deluxe Verb kind of kick in, and then at about minus 10 dB, it starts to take over. So I would just kind of tweak it until I hear a sweet spot in the middle. About minus 19 gives me that there. Let's hear the AC20 on its own, and then I will kick in this Deluxe Verb. I love that combination on there. And that's basically the same concept we're going to use throughout the rest of the video. You can do the same thing with 2 of the same amp model if you like over here. Let's go to scene 2, because I've got 2 Plexis, one set up to be bright, one set up to be really dark. So the bright side, I'll let you hear first. This is the 6CA7 jumped model on both amp blocks. But here, I've just kind of dialed it in the way I would dial in a Plexi and matched it with the 4x12 1960 TV Dynacab. The darker one with the treble right down, the presence right down, and lots of normal gain, I've paired with an EV12 LIR and a ribbon mic. So that's going to be a lot darker. I'll let you hear each of them. I'll bring the level on them up to kind of similar levels to start out. Let's hear the bright one and then the dark one. particularly like about that is when I roll my volume control down on just the single Plexi model that's quite bright. It's maybe a little bit too bright, a little bit too glassy sounding, but having a similar response from this other Plexi here, even though it's dialed in a little bit differently, you know, the gain structure is very similar. It reacts to the guitar in a very similar way. I can kind of sweeten up that cleaner sound in there without sacrificing the cut that I got with them wide open. And again, greenbacks, EVs, I really like that speaker combo. The speakers are very important here as well, but that contrast really comes out nicely. Let's go full on high gain next. So I've got the 5153 100 watt blue and the Recto one red over here. I've got my free LTTV Mix 7 cab, which you can get off Exchange. I've kind of just dialed this one in where I like it already, but you could use the same process with the looper or just play along. So let's hear maybe just the Recto on its own. It'll be a little bit quiet, then the 5153 on its own, and then the combo. What's interesting there is the 5153 is super tight. The Recto is a little flubbier. So combining them, you get this like hybrid feel. It's almost like you get that initial sharp attack from the 5153 combined with the bloom from the Recto over there. That's why blending these amps is so much fun. Another cool contrast would be, say, the Boogie Mark IV and then a Marshall, like the Brit 800 mod. I've got these at roughly similar levels in here. I'll actually just bring the Marshall down a little bit. Actually, let's hear the Marshall first, then the Boogie, then we'll hear both, because this blend, these are a little more similar, but again, it's like the character of the distortion out of them is a little bit different. The attack's similar, but the character is different. I like that blend in there. In this case, I'm actually using two different IRs that I made. One's called LTTV Mix 2, the other's LTTV Mix 7. They've just got a slightly different character in there that blends well with each of those amps. Now, I mentioned earlier that you could kind of add different effects to each stage. So one thing I like with the dirty stuff would be like, take a, say, a flanger. We went with like the ADA. I've got one in my blocks library in here, just on one of the amps, normally the quieter one. So I'll let you hear the difference with no flanger, then just a little bit of movement on the other amp. Another is using a drive or a compressor or something to just hit the front end of the quieter amp a little bit harder. I've got the clone Chiron here hitting the deluxe reverb. We'll hear it without and then with it. Basically borrowing the approach you would use from a dirty bass guitar tone where you blend a clean DI with something very distorted. Kind of sounds a little bit weird on its own, but in a mix, that can work quite nicely because you're just getting this extra like crust and character on a bit of the tone, but you still got your clean sound in there. So this is how I would go about blending dual amps on the Axe FX3 to create like hybrid amp models. You could save your favorite combinations to your blocks library, of course, or assign them to global blocks on the Axe. Let me know your favorite amp combinations in the comment section below, because I'm always looking for fun new tones and combos in here. And I know that some of you are going to have some really great ones in there. If you've got questions or suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, have a great day, and I'll see you all next Tuesday.